Good morning and welcome to our live crafting session this morning. For us here in the UK, it's August bank holiday, so it's Monday the 25th of August 2025, and we have a bank holiday on the last Monday in August of each year, and supposed to be harvesting and that sort of thing at this time of year, but the weather has been so dry. Sadly, it's not quite as good as it used to be, so I thought it very appropriate that I used Tractor & Co. This is one of our online products. It's a stamp set, and it also has a fabulous set of dies. So if you've got young ones or grandchildren or great-grandchildren that love tractors, this would be a great set for you. Let me show you the stamps. So we've got 17 stamps in here in total. So a nice quantity, and they're quite nice, bold, bright stamps. And these are very good if you're actually crafting with young children, because they can see the image. Yes, you've got to fit in the tyres into the gaps here, but everything else just works perfectly. It's got a little trailer here that you can add Christmas trees, dare I mention that, pumpkins, we've got hay, we've got the cutest little hen, we've got some sweet corn and the little corn on the cob pieces at the top, the corn, and a little banner. And we've got a seat as well if you want to add that in. And then we've got 5 sentiments. Thanks for pulling me through. Season's greetings. Thinking of you. It's your birthday. And hay. And obviously the hay works perfectly on top of the hay here. So let's get cracking. There is a coordinating die set, as I said. I will just show you those. I won't be using these this morning, but there's lots of elements to this. So there are 19 dies altogether. So we obviously have the main tractor and the trailer. There's various layers for the wheels and the tyres, so you could do those in multicolours. We've got die cuts for obviously the trees, the sweet corn and the corn, and we also have, there's a little piece here for making up the tractor, so, and a roof for the tractor, and the like the wheel arches. So you could use the dies on their own to make the tractor if you wanted to. Obviously these pieces here wouldn't be as useful, and there's a separate Christmas tree here which die cuts with elements and detail in it. So a fun little set. It's one of our online exclusives. I can tell you that the tractor stamp set is £23, and you can buy the dies separately or buy them both together as a bundle and save yourself 10%. I haven't got any lights on because it's a beautiful bright day here so far. I'm just going to do a simple card. I've got a piece of our basic white card. This measures 9.5 centimetres by 13.35. I've got a cherry cobbler layer that's going to go behind that, and I think I'm going to need nearly all of this space to fit the tractor. The size here is 85% of the actual size. And then I've got a base card in white. So I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. I haven't created a card with this. I did just stamp out the tractor to see the sizing, and these ones here, you can see with my staining on them. I'm just going to stick with cherry cobbler. I've got some black for the wheels, and then in the trailer you could put all sorts of things. So when it comes to coffee and card, what I'm going to do is take quite a few sets that have got small images in. So not necessarily the dinosaurs, but I was thinking the balloons here, the little flowers. You could have the rocks, and potentially some of these, the flowers here. Obviously you could use these pumpkins. And the other one I thought of, just off the top of my head, this is one of my business stamp sets that demonstrators can buy. And it's got this little carrier bag here. And I thought that would be perfect. And somewhere I've got some papers that have got little presents on. So I was thinking you could cut presents out and put those as if they're coming out of the trailer. So we're just going to straightforward this morning. I expect it to be fairly quiet as the bank holiday. A lot of people are off doing things. I was umming and ahhing whether to do my live this morning, but I decided I might as well do it because I need it for samples for coffee and card tomorrow. So this is photopolymer stamp, and if you missed any of the announcements or my emails, all of the Stampin' Up stamps are moving to photopolymer starting from November. So any that are currently in our cling mount, if you particularly like that, will be retired in the cling form. They won't necessarily transition to photopolymer. I'd say more than half of our stamp sets now are probably photopolymer. A number of reasons for that. One is ability to get the products. They've had lots of supply issues with the red rubber, and also the sustainability of it. So let's grab our cherry cobbler ink pad, and I've got 2 sheets here, so I'm just going to ink this up. Now it's quite a solid stamp, so I can see on here, which is typical, I've got some little hairs, possibly animal hairs, but they could just be, you know, dust and things like that. So, and mostly it comes off either the stamps or the ink pad, and usually obviously when it's a new set it wouldn't be the stamps. So, but my ink pads get used at coffee and card every week, so you know there's lots of bits flying around. Okay, so I'm going to do 2. Now what I haven't done is worked out how much space I need for the tyres, which might have been a little bit more useful, mightn't it? So let's just work out roughly where that needs to go. Okay, so about halfway up my card will mean I can add those layers in. And I have a feeling it's going to take up most of the card, which is why I haven't used a die cut. Okay, I didn't ink it particularly well on the right, so I'm going to do another one, but this is quite good for my practice layout. Let's add the trailer. And then just make sure again that I've got a nice clean, I've got hair right behind the stamp. And that looks like one of mine, not a pet's hair. Make sure I've got out of the way. There we go. Okay, that's better. Now, didn't think this through, did I? Okay, let's just see. I didn't think how high that needs to be. Okay, let's do a little practice one. And then we can see. Right, we've got two sizes of wheels. We've got a large and a small. And I'm going to use a black ink for that. Obviously you could use grey. And again, because it's a solid stamp, you just want to make sure that it's well inked, like so. I think that will do. Okay, so I've got a small one at the front, like so, and the same for the trailer. One, two, okay, oops, and then let's add the large wheel tire. So obviously you can do your tractor in whichever colours, whether you're a John Deere fan or anything else. Yellow one for JCB, isn't it? Well, so that's sort of orangey yellow. Okay, so that works okay, doesn't it, in terms of height? That's what I'm after, really. So I'm going to reproduce that on my actual card. But while I'm here, let me just have a little practice with what I'm going to put in. I could just put a hay bale in yellow, or we've got pumpkins, Christmas trees. Maybe I'll just do some sweet corn, because they're rather cute. I'll switch that one out for the minute. So we've got, what's quite nice about this is we've got two stamps, so one for the stalks and one for the corn itself. And I might have, I've got garden green, that will do the job. But as I say, what I'll do is I'll bring lots of stamp sets that have got little things, so I think presents would be perfect. And what I'm going to do, even though it's only my practice one, is I'm going to put a post-it note on the top of my trailer. Oh, suddenly realised you can't see that. Okay, post-it note on the top of my trailer, so that I can put my corn just overlapping, so that it's not either in mid-air or it's not hanging over the top, like so. Hopefully you can see that. And then let's pop the corn on top. So it's one stamp that does all of the corn, which is useful. Let me just find a yellow ink pad. Got Daffodil Delight, that's a good sort of corn colour. Let's work out, yes, that's the way it goes. So this is my prototype. There we go. Like so. It's very cute. And then you've got space for a sentiment across the top. Now I could add in the little seat here. Let's pop that in. And then I'm just going to do that in black, I think. Let me cover these other ink pads, close those up, and just put my fingers in one. Got nice pink fingers now. And let's just do that. Seat. I'm assuming it's that way. Yes, it is. Where do you think the seat goes? There. Yes. There we are. Sweet. So there's my little quick practice one to see how it's going to look. This is what happens when you don't try anything before we start stamping on live. Okay, so now I know what I'm doing. I can bring this tractor down a little bit more. So I have this at about the halfway point. The other thing I could do is start with the wheel. Let's try that. I'm trying to always try and find the easiest way for people to use a stamp set. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the right way, but when you've got a coffee and card session going, you want everybody to have a good experience of stamping and crafting. And so what I like to do is find the easiest, best way for them to do that. Hi, Pat. So this would be very much up your street, tractors. Right, let me put that in the right place now. So I am going to try. So I know I've got space either side. This might go completely wrong, but I'm going to try placing the small wheel in the front to help me place the rest of the card, because obviously this is a little bit high. I could trim it off, to be honest, but let's give that a go. So we're going to use black. Obviously your tiles could be grey, they could be very muddy, and if you're using the dies you could have them in different colours anyway. So I need to leave a little bit of space on the right for the front of the tractor. So what I'm going to do is position this here, like so. Then I'm going to stamp the main part of the tractor, and that's going to be, I'm just going to stick to red, but I could change it to green for John Deere or yellow for JCB. I can't think what colour, what brand the blue tractors are. Okay, so just making sure that is well inked. I've got I've got a few loose things on there. I think that will do. Move that out of the way. So single piece there, then our tractor, and I'm just leaving a little bit of gap between the tractor tyre and the tractor itself, like so. Not my best bit of stamping. Let me just see if I can line that up again. I'll try and do it straight. I think what I'll make sure I do is take our stamping mats with us. There we go, that's better. So there's a little bit more cushioning. I do have a little bit of a padding here behind. Okay, let's do the large tractor wheel while I'm there. So I hope everybody who's watching is well, and if you're watching on replay or catch up, whether that's here on Facebook or whether that's on YouTube, do say hi. And if you have any questions, don't forget to leave us a comment or ask any questions in the comments section. Right, Okay, hopefully that's in your view. So this is the other tire going in, like so. Perfect. And then we're going to have the trailer. Let's put that back there so I don't lose it. And I just want the trailer to be, if you can see here, sort of in line with the edge of that tire. I think my stamping must have been a fluke when I did it the first time. That's definitely got something. Some third party something. Okay. Right, so this is going to go on here. Like so. And two small tires are going to go on there. Oopsie-daisy. So if you have farmers in your family or children or grandchildren who love tractors, and who wouldn't, then this set would be perfect for them. There's one there. And then I'll add the sweet corn. So our class in a box information will come out later today. A little bit late for this month. I had just a busy couple of weeks right in the middle, which meant I wasn't able to concentrate on my business elements, I'm afraid. So having got out my July class really promptly, my August class is slightly late. But I have designed all the cards, 5 new fun folds, and a choice of papers. So you can choose the Painterly Pears or you can choose the Florals in Bloom. Right, this is going to be our sweet corn. So I'm just going to use garden green for the greenery. And I'm going to do the same as I did before. Take a post-it note, just cover up slightly underneath the very tip of the trailer. I don't know if you can see that on there or not, so that I can stamp my sweet corn just over the edge, and then it will look like they're in the trailer rather, and then I won't have a gap. And they won't be over the edge. So I appreciate the scale of this is probably slightly bizarre. But there we go. So there's our sweet corn in there. And then let's add our sweet corn heads. Oh, and also the tractor seat. And then I'll stamp a sentiment across the top. Obviously you could just do a straightforward happy birthday. That would definitely work. So here's my 5 little heads of corn. Seem to have got coated in ink today. So they can go in there. Hopefully you can see that all right. As I say, there's Christmas trees, there's hay, there's pumpkins, and you could add anything else. So if you've got any small stamps, that would be perfect. I'm going to try one with the little shopping bags. Let's put this little seat in, and sentiment, and we're done. And we have the release of our new September to December catalogue next week. So I'll be taking those along to Coffee and Card. And that, of course, is packed with, if I'm allowed to say it, Christmas products. Okay, let's pop that in there. Like so. And then let's see what stamp I might use for my sentiment. We've got thanks for pulling me through. Season's greetings obviously works really well for Christmas. I think I'm just going to put a happy birthday or something like that. I've actually got a nice big thanks here. I'm going to use that. If I use the huge one or the slightly smaller one. Oh, let's go for the big one. Okay. Put that one in there. And I think I'm going to stamp this in my cherry cobbler, that nice deep red. I might just, as I've not used this stamp before, try it out on here. Oops, Daisy. So, just giving it a good clean, and I'm going to stamp it again, because you want the ink to really attach itself to the stamp. That's better, so that I get less. And it is on a piece of scrap post-it note, so it'll be different anyway than stamping on our specialist card. I really do recommend, if you're having any problems stamping and getting a good image, you need to check what paper you're using and also the ink. Okay, there we go. Quite sweet. Thanks. That would make a great set of thank you cards for a little one's birthday party, wouldn't it? Or an invite to a farm themed birthday party. Okay, let's put this together. I'm just going to put all of these ink pads away. I seem to have got completely coated. So this is going to go onto there. That's going to go onto a white card. And what I might do on the inside of the card is add that sweet corn across the bottom. So let me grab a piece of paper, having put these all away. Let's get them out again. And I'm going to start from the left hand side. I'm not going to do it out two sides and then bit in the middle, because there might be some overlap. If I start from the left hand side, it can just go off on the right hand side. So sorry about my hand in the way. There we go. And again, I am just positioning this a little way off the bottom. Like so. And what have I done with the sweet, with the corn? There it is. Because it wasn't really stained. whereas the other ones, when you've used them well, they're easy to see. So I'm just going to add these on the inside just for a little bit of interest, and you could also add these to the envelope, of course. Okay, so I've got 5 sets of corn. I'm going to put these across here. Let's layer this together. So that's the inside of my card, just with those cute. I never believe I was ever going to say that sweet corn was cute, but there's always a first time. Right, let's move these out of the way and just layer these up. So definitely, if you want some hints on layering this, either stamp the tractor a little bit under half the way down the panel, so you can see here. I guess I could measure it, and that would you could mark it then, or up from the bottom might be easier. So this is about 4.5 centimeters. So if my coffee and card ladies are unsure, or gentlemen, they can mark up there and then just put a little pencil line and know that that's where the top of the trailer is, the top of the tractor is. This is going to go on the front. So a nice scribble all the way over, like so, and job done. So we can make a great invite, great for youngsters obviously, or farmers in your life, as long as they didn't take umbrage about the shape or the design of the tractor. So there we go, there's our coffee and card design for this week, and I will take lots of different things that can be put in the back. So I say I've got these little carrier bags, there's little hearts we could use, flowers, pumpkin, even penguins if you wanted to. And I was thinking also the flower, the stones, you could even put a cute little dinosaur in there, sat if you wanted to. So thank you so much for joining me. That's our stamp set of the week. It's called Tractor & Co. This one here, 17 stamps. It is in stock. It's one of our online exclusives, so you won't have seen it in a printed catalogue, but it does have the dies to go with it. I desperately need to use that cute little chicken as well. So I'll definitely be using that tomorrow. So we're at Esquire's Coffee Shop tomorrow morning. That's Tuesday the 26th of August at 9:30 till about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And you can catch us on Friday in Brackley at the Chatty Parrot Cafe, and on Monday afternoon, like this afternoon, at Watling Street Village in Towcester. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed that. Do keep well if you are watching on the 25th of August and you're in the UK. Enjoy your bank holiday, and I look forward to catching up with you really soon. Bye for now, and you do keep crafting.